On News Hour tonight, Bauchi workers protest, demand clarity on pension scheme. Bandits displace residents, attack 8 communities in Sokoto. APC sweeps 20 local government areas, PDP secures 3 in Rivers Council elections. And on the foreign scene, train derailment in Egypt kills 3, injures over 90. Hello, good evening, and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Dorcas Yakubuzala. We begin the news in Bauchi State, where civil servants in the state are demanding explicit explanation from the authority concerning the recently introduced monthly contributory pension scheme by the state government. This was disclosed by some of their members after a recent protest organized by the aggrieved workers in the state. Trust TV's Adamu Imam completes the report.
Following the introduction of Unified Contributory Pension Scheme in the state, some workers and residents of Bauchi continue lamenting on the policy. Malam Muhammad Ismail and Andraus share their opinion on lack of adequate sensitization for the civil servants.
Those who are responsible and are the mediators and representatives of workers are the organized labor. So up to now, we are made to understand that forms have been issued to various ministries and parastatals for the workers to fill to kickstart the process of pension scheme program in Bauchi State.
Let the government and the labor, they should call the people and introduce and tell people the benefit, and if there are some circumstances on it, they should that's the advantage and the disadvantage of it, so that the people should be clear if they clear people about it.
In a swift reaction, the chairman Bauchi State Organized Labor Union, Comrade Dauda Shuaibu, expressed deep concern about the plight of the workers.
A law has been established right from the federal government down to states, and there are a lot of speculations. And having received so many complaints from our appellate unions, we summoned for an emergency executive council meeting of the joint NLC and TUC in Bauchi. We met, we discussed thoroughly about the issue.
He added that recently the state government approved the increment of pension benefit to 32,000 naira.
There are people that retire for the first 10 to 15 years, they have not received their entitlement up to this moment. So this is an opportunity, because a long time now is going to be obtained from the financial institutions, and then they will liquidate all this backlog. You see, it's a good news for the retiring pensioners. And then the issue of you retire and then you wait for yourself to be enrolled under pension scheme is also going to be a history, because government have put all machinery in place that they want to have a seamless transition from the active civil servant payroll to that of the government.
He urged members of the union to always scrutinize government policies and programs before engaging protest. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
And now in Kaduna, the growing agitations among northern politicians against President Tinubu continues to generate more reactions across the region. Many northern leaders have accused the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for marginalizing the north in terms of distribution of national resources and the representation of northern interests within the government. In Kaduna, politicians and commentators express disparities in project allocations between the north and southwest, especially Lagos State. Trust TV's Bello Musa has more on the story.
At the interactive session organized by the Sadana Memorial Foundation in Kaduna with ministers and other key appointees in the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, statistics reeled out at the forum indicate disparities in the federal allocations for road projects. As at May 2025 show that Northeast 30 billion naira, Northwest 105 billion naira, Southeast 205 billion naira, and Southwest recorded 394 billion naira worth of project. The bone of contention is Tinubu's recent $21.5 billion law request from the National Assembly. The northern leaders claim that a significant portion of the fund is earmarked for progress in the southwest, which includes Lagos Green Line, $2 billion, Western Sugar Grid, $1.07 billion, Lagos Calabar Coastal Road, $700 million.
The truth of the matter is that when you look at the various projects embarked upon by the present administration, one can outrightly say that the North has been marginalized. And if you look at the pattern of appointments coming out from the administration, it also shows that the administration is not being fair to other regions of the country. Mostly, one can say the North, which has given so much votes to the present administration, has been marginalized.
The administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has completely marginalized the North. Why I say it has marginalized the North is that when you look at the past appointment, not of just recent, that a lot of people were talking all over, that is when he started picking, and most of the appointment is not something to talk about. You understand? But seriously, when it comes to appointment, he has marginalized not only the North, the entire nation, but Southwest.
PRP member Lawal Musa blames the northern appointees for lack of performance as representatives of the North in Tinubu's administration, while Awal Abdullahi stressed that the present administration is carrying everybody along.
And the people who were appointed by the president, by the presidency, they are not serious and they are less concerned about their people. That is why we are not seeing exactly what we are expecting to see from them. At the end, we will end up thinking that we are marginalized.
We as Northerners, our major challenge, we have three major challenges: security, and economy, and of course education. You will agree with me that in terms of security, we have the two ministers of defense of the Federal Republic of Nigeria from the north, in terms of Badaru Abubakar, who is the main minister of defense, and then Dr. Mohammed Bello Matawale, the minister of state defense. We have the chief of defense staff, General Christopher Gwabin Musa, is of course a northerner. We have the chief of air staff, Air Marshal Abubakar, is also from the north. We have the national security advisor, who coordinate all the security intelligence and the network. First to see the president and last to see the president, Malam Nuhu Ribadu. He's equally from the north. And then the Minister of Education is...
The analysts point out that Tinubu's economic policies have impacted negatively on all parts of the country, but the impact is felt more in the northern region because of its huge population. However, many are of the view that during a meeting with the then presidential aspirant of the APC, Bola Tinubu, with ACF, the forum failed to present blueprint for the North. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Now talking security, hundreds of residents in Shagari local government area of Sokoto State have been forced from their homes after bandits attacked and sacked 8 communities. The national and state emergency management agencies confirmed the displacement during a visit to an IDP camp in Shagari town. Community leaders say the attacks happened 3 days ago, affecting villages such as Tungarbarke, Lungu, Askedodo, Zango and Ila. Many families are now sheltering in makeshift camps with little food or water. The victims are appealing for urgent government support and security to enable their safe return. Authorities say relief efforts are underway. Bandits in large numbers on Sunday blocked a rural road in Kaduna State, killing one resident and dispossessing several others of their belongings. A trader whose relative was among the victims confirmed the incident via WhatsApp messages. According to him, the attack happened along the Iyatawa-Ringim Road in Giwa local government area, which borders Birningwari local government and Sabwa local government area of Katsina State. The assailants reportedly mounted a blockade on the road, robbed travelers of cash, motorcycles, and other valuables while firing sporadic gunshots to scare the victims. Meanwhile, the Kaduna State government, in collaboration with federal agencies, launched what it called the Kaduna Model, a holistic peace initiative aimed at addressing both the symptoms and root causes of insecurity. The pact involved direct engagement with notorious bandit leaders operating in areas like Birningwari and Giwa. The federal government on Saturday signed one-year performance contracts with paramilitary agencies, insisting that they should hit 100% goals with ongoing reforms. The agencies are the Nigeria Immigration Service, the Nigerian Correctional Service, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, and the Federal Fire Service. The National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, now under the Ministry of Interior, signed the performance bond as well. Passports and visa reforms, prisons decongestion, reformation of inmates in line with global standards, protection of critical national assets and infrastructures, and firefighting reforms are major issues and challenges being addressed at the moment by the agencies in line with their respective mandates. The performance contracts were signed by Professor Abubakar Audi, Commandant General of the NSCDC, Sylvester Nwakuche, Controller General of Corrections, and the Commandant General of Federal Fire Service, Samuel Adeyemi. Now, away from security matters, stakeholders in Nigeria's education sector are raising concerns over the moribund state of the National Library. They are questioning how Nigeria can speak of innovation, global competitiveness, and national pride when the Apex Library remains unfinished. Habiba Ajayi completes the report.
Nigeria, Africa's largest economy, is still ranked among countries with one of the weakest reading cultures. According to the National Commission for Mass Literacy, Adult and Non-Formal Education, 38% of Nigerians remains unlettered. A parent, Taiwo Idowu, described reading as an indispensable tool for learning and urged parents to instill the reading culture in their children.
I think it's because they see us reading, so they also learn to read through the parents. They imitate us. We advise them to encourage the younger ones, their children, their wards, to read, because without reading we cannot, we won't know anything without reading. Through reading we can have understanding and knowledge.
A bookseller, Sunday Ame, alleged that many tertiary institutions are also guilty of failing to equip their libraries with relevant materials.
But it's a shame, because government doesn't care about the library. It doesn't care about the development of its citizens. Let me tell you, librarians, you see, rush to get books for accreditation. After accreditation, that is the end of the story. The students come there and borrow books and read. Most of the time, it is during accreditation that money are voted. But the most painful irony is that when money is voted, some schools hold on this money and ask lecturers to bring books for accreditation. I've encountered that in so many schools in this country.
In a recent development, the Nigerian Library Association, NLA, during its recent investiture, called on librarians to intensify efforts to meet the demands of the digital age.
The library, the librarian, and society, the challenge of relevance. And in an age of innovation, without stepping up, librarians may not be able to catch up with what is happening. We're in the age of AI. We don't want technology to take over our responsibilities or our job from us. So we are looking at a situation where after today, we'll begin to look at our relevance going forward in the age of innovation.
Meanwhile, the federal government has been urged to ensure the speedy completion of the long overdue edifice.
We do not have an infrastructure yet as a national library. We have the British Library, you have the American Library of Congress, and so on and so forth. But today, in the last almost 25 years, they've been building a national library in Nigeria. But today, there is no library in Nigeria you can call really a national library, because the infrastructure is still being there. Is there. They are still working on the infrastructure. And I pray that with the present government, with the new, the renewed hope of agenda that we are talking about in Nigeria, that they will look at the infrastructure and complete it. And I think the Federal Minister of Education is actually already working with it along with the TED Fund. So we are praying that they actually make do the promises.
Completing the National Library project, they stressed, will not only restore dignity to Nigerians' cultural heritage, but also reaffirm the country's commitment to education, research, and innovation in the 21st century. Habibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, the federal government has completed a comprehensive review of curricula across basic, senior secondary, and technical education aimed at reducing overload and enhancing quality learning outcomes. Announcing the development on Sunday on behalf of the Minister of Education, Maruf Tunji Alausa, the Minister of State for Education, Professor Suwaiba Said Ahmad, said the review was conducted in collaboration with the Nigerian Educational Research and Development Council, UBEC, NSSEC, NBTE, and other key stakeholders. She explained that the new framework balances subject offerings with deeper, more practical learning. At the primary level, pupils in primary 1 to 3 will offer 9 to 10 subjects, while those in primary 4 to 6 will take 10 to 12. For junior secondary school, the range is 12 to 14 subjects. Senior secondary students will take 8 to 9, and technical schools will offer 9 to 11 subjects. Professor Ahmed stressed that the revised curricula are designed to reduce content overload, allow more time for learning, and ensure that education remains relevant to the realities of today's world. Mixed reactions have trailed the federal government's proposed introduction of computer-based testing for the senior school certificate examination in Nigerian secondary schools. Residents of Bauchi Metropolis expressed differing views amid concerns about the pace of technological advancement in the country. Trust TV's Adamu Imam reports.
Some Nigerians have described the planned computer-based examination as a welcome development. However, they lamented the lack of adequate preparations by the federal government to ensure its effective implementation.
If I may propose, there should be a sort of sample by the federal government in all the states. See the state of their preparedness in terms of these computer examinations, because there are some even in the cities. There are secondary schools that they don't have computers. How are they going to write without computers?
It's actually a very good move in order to have a swift examination exercise. But the challenge I have with that is that we are very good in policy making in Nigeria, so as to say, but the implementation matters. What I would want the federal government to do, rather, is to actually get these facilities on ground, to train these young ones on how to operate this system in the first place before introducing this particular means of examination.
So many things that's happening, because sometimes you will see there is shortage of exam paper, like booklet, but bringing this is a good move, is another development of our country, because people will learn skill first of how to use computer.
While experts note that education remains one of the most critical areas of human development, they stress the need for government at all levels to prioritize policies that address local challenges rather than focusing solely on competing with other nations. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Now, the Congress of University Academics, CONUA, has said any meeting called by the federal government to discuss issues relating to the welfare of university lecturers without its inputs is invalid and will create more problems rather than solving any. The national president, Niyi Sumonu, who stated this, added that registered and recognized academic staff unions in the Nigerian university system were more than one. Sumonu added that CONUA would never toy with the welfare of its members and called on the government to do the needful by paying the necessary attention to the education sector. University lecturers and the federal government are currently locked in a battle over some demands by the lecturers. They are mostly welfare and provision of facilities that would aid the work of the university teachers. Members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, last week embarked on protests across the country, but CONUA is piqued that the government seems to be tilting in favor of ASU by calling its members for meetings and sidelining CONUA. Apart from ASU and CONUA, there is also the Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria, MDCAN, as another academic staff union in the Nigerian university system. In Ekiti State, the African Democratic Congress in the state has berated the governing All Progressives Congress APC in the state over alleged politically motivated violence and attacks on the opposition party members in a bid to silence them ahead of the 2026 governorship election. ADC State Chairman Ile Sanmi Omolayo, in a statement in Ado-Ekiti on Sunday, accused the APC of desperation, saying that the ruling party was pushing the state towards chaos ahead of the election. Omolayo condemned the recent violent disruption of a political meeting of his party members in Ikere, Ekiti, alleging that armed thugs reportedly invaded the gathering, unleashed mayhem on citizens, injured some persons, vandalized vehicles and motorcycles, and catered away personal belongings. He described the incident as a, quote, reckless abuse of democracy and a deliberate attempt to silence opposition. What happened in Ikere, Ekiti is not an isolated event. He added that it is part of a bigger plot by the APC to intimidate, harass, and silence every opposition voice ahead of the 2026 election. Now, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has urged the federal government to urgently reverse the new passport fees announced by the Nigeria Immigration Service. In a statement on Sunday, SERAP's Deputy Director, Kolawole Oluwadare, described the increase as arbitrary, unlawful, and discriminatory against poor Nigerians. The group said decision would amount to a denial of access to passports for millions of socially and economically vulnerable Nigerians. Serap stated that Nigerians who cannot afford to pay the excessive fees will be denied the effective enjoyment of their citizenship rights conferred by the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended and human rights treaties to which the country is a state party. It further cautioned that the unlawful increase in passport fees at a time the country is facing economic and financial crisis would contribute further to the impoverishment of the population. The Nigerian Immigration Service announced that effective September 1st, 2025, applications within Nigeria would cost 100,000 naira for the 32-page, 5-year validity passport and 200,000 naira for the 64-page, 10-year validity passport. Jauro Jato community located along Gombe bypass and close to Gombe town has continued to grapple with major developmental challenges. Residents lament that despite their large population, they have remained in darkness for over 5 months due to power outage, use of temporary structure as a primary school, and have no polling units to exercise their civic rights. Trust TV's Hassan Lawan Koli, who visited the community, reports that the blackout has crippled many small businesses, leading to job losses. The report.
Located at Gombe Southern Bypass, Jauro Jato is housing thousands of residents who mostly moved there from Gombe town due to population growth. A resident, Malam Muhammad Idris, has lived here for more than 10 years. He said government has not done much in terms of developmental project despite being close to the town. We have to buy water from vendors at higher price, 400 naira instead of initial price of 30 naira. This is disturbing for thousands of people in our neighborhood. For Aminu Umar, the issue is beyond the water supply. He identifies security as a major concern. This has a direct impact on security, especially during the night. Some residents being stopped at the nooks and forced to give up their belongings, and the issue of burglary is on rise too. Another resident, Babangida Babeo, expressed frustration over the absence of a polling unit, saying authorities should consider giving an opportunity to exercise the civil rights. We are thousands here, but during elections, we must trek long distance to vote. It feels like we are forgotten citizens. However, we are urging authorities to extend developmental projects here. With absence of power supply for over 5 months, children learning under makeshift classrooms, and no polling unit to cast their votes, residents of Jaurajato community insist that their challenges demand immediate government attention before the situation gets worse. Hassan Lawan Koli, Trust TV News, Gombe.
This is News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up ahead. APC sweeps 20 local government areas. PDP secures 3 in Rivers Council elections. This and many more when we return. Do stay with us. Welcome back from the break. In case you're just joining in, this is News Hour on Trust TV. Let's take a look at our top stories again. We told you that Bauchi workers protest, demand clarity on pension scheme. And bandits displaced residents attack 8 communities in Sokoto. Now moving on to more stories, in Gombe State, residents are witnessing a drop in the prices of some essential commodities such as grain, fruit and beverages. However, palm oil remains at its peak, while butchers lament that their business is crippled due to the restriction on motorcycles during night hours. Trust TV's Hassan Lawan Koli has more.
In Gombe Main Market, the prices of grains such as rice, maize and millet have reduced compared to the past month, bringing some relief to families.
The price has started coming down. The size that they used to sell like 3,000 2-3 weeks ago has come down to like 1,000 naira, 1,000 plus. So it's like there is half reduction of the price depending on the person you're purchasing from.
I observed the price of Ankara has reduced significantly as I used to manage that of 300 naira. However, the same amount is now enough to satisfy me, which is a welcome development. Palm oil traders say the price has remained unusually high, but however optimistic that it will start coming down in the coming months.
Palm oil is going up because this time around everything is just shooting up. Jerrycan of red oil now is 67,000. The good oil is 67. While Turkey is 68, 1 jerrycan. Normally, if rain season comes, the palm oil normally go up that time because the tree will not produce as much as the time of heat.
Butchers, on their part, say the motorcycle restriction at night is taking a heavy toll on their business.
Amma kuma yanzu kasuwar tamu ta nama ta dan ja baya Sakamakon wannan doka-dokan mashin.
I used to sell suya of 50,000 naira daily in the last 2 months. However, the motorcycle restriction makes it difficult as I hardly get more than 20,000 naira a day, and some of colleagues experiencing worst.
Amma yanzu cinikin bai wuce 15,000, 17 nayi ciniki da yawa shine 20,000.
Residents here in Gombe say they want government to strike a balance between economic survival and security measures. Hassan Lawan Koli, Trust TV News, Gombe.
And now in Niger State, tragedy struck over the weekend as a woman was lynched and set ablaze by residents in Mariga local government area for alleged blasphemy. The incident happened in Kaswangarba town, where the victim, identified as Amaye, a food vendor, was accused of making blasphemous remarks at her restaurant. Eyewitnesses say she was first taken to the district head's palace and handed over to security operatives. But the mob later overpowered them, dragging her away and setting her ablaze. The chairman of Mariga local government area also confirmed the incident, adding that normalcy has since been restored in the town. Police say calm has returned to Kaswangarba, but investigations are underway to bring those responsible to justice. Now talking politics, the All Progressives Congress APC has swept 20 out of 23 local government areas in Saturday's chairmanship and councillorship elections in Rivers State. The People's Democratic Party (PDP), which controls the state government, managed to secure only 3 local government areas. Chairman of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, Dr. Michael Ode, announced the results on Sunday at the Commission's headquarters along Aba Road, Port Harcourt. A former presidential candidate and chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, Gbenga Olawepo Hashim, says he is irrevocably committed to rebuilding the damaged bridges of Nigeria's national unity. Speaking at an interactive session with senior media executives in Lagos, Hashim faulted what he called the manipulation of Nigeria's ethnic and religious fault lines by failed politicians. He criticized zoning and other extra-constitutional measures, insisting they are distractions from the real challenges of economic development and security. Hashim cited examples from Nigeria's history where leaders rose above ethnic and religious divides, from Herbert Macaulay handing over NCNC to Nnamdi Azikiwe, to Chief Obafemi Awolowo backing Ernest Ikoli, and Kano's support for Chief MKO Abiola in the 1993 elections. His comments come after the PDP zoned its 2027 presidential ticket to the south, a move that has triggered criticism, especially from members in the north who see it as divisive and retrogressive. Olawepo Hashim says he will continue to champion a politics of inclusion, urging Nigerians to amplify the best in the nation rather than its worst. Now, reactions have continued to trail the warning from one of Nigeria's most prominent religious leaders, His Eminence the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammadu Sa'ad Abubakar III, about the scales of justice in Nigeria. The Sultan had alleged at the just concluded NBA AGC in Enugu that the justice system in Nigeria only benefits the elites. Amina Ibrahim has the report.
The message by His Eminence has been re-echoed by some legal experts and some civil society groups, pointing to a prolonged court delays, complex legal procedures that baffles the common man, and high-profile cases that appear to be obstructed indefinitely.
There are news and researches and investigations out there that the office of the AG has been pointed at and has been complicit in what they call judgment bargaining, and people have to pay money. So really, the judiciary, the confidence they need to have faith in it and to believe that justice is actually blind. In Nigeria, people believe the justice has one of its eyes open. And so I think there are serious issues we have in this country, especially in the judiciary.
Take our police, for example. How many people do you think are willingly able to approach the police, to call on them to investigate a crime, and they believe that the police will actually do that. So these are some of the things that the Sultan has raised in that a very important statement he has made. I do not think that statement is meant to denigrate those institutions, but that statement is meant to raise awareness about the current realities of the situation.
Other analysts argued that this erosion of trust is one of the greatest threats to national unity and security, fostering widespread disappointment and anger among the masses who feel the system is rigid amongst them.
I agree with our eminent leader, Sultan of Sokoto, because from the happenings in the country, it seems justice is for the highest bidder because of what we're seeing happening. You know, it used to be known by us when we were growing up that that justice, judiciary is the last hope of a common man. But it seems to be a mirage now based on the antecedents that are happening in the country.
Apart from the money, do your profession, do your job, like to people, even though you won't get the money you want, at least bring out your profession and then help the people that they need justice. And you know that this case or this problem need a justice.
If a poor man steal, for example, a cube of Maggi, he will be thrown into the prison. Only God knows when. But the rich, those who stole billions, they can always use that same money to bribe off the judge. So justice in Nigeria is not free. It's not for the poor, it's for the rich.
The way out is for us to be very deliberate about, especially our judicial system. They need to have a very decisive reforms in the judicial system, where justice shall prevail at all times. And whoever that needs justice should be given to him, whether you can afford or not. I think that is the way to go. And then, like what you are doing now, there is need to be more to increase media engagement so that we will change our behaviors as Nigerians, as the nationals of this country, so that we begin to do things right.
For now, the Sultan's word is heavily in the air, like a solemn reminder of the widening gap between the promise of justice and the experience of it for millions of Nigerians. Amina Ibrahim, Trust TV.
In other news, Jigawa State is making history in renewable energy. Governor Umar Namadi has commissioned a 500 kilowatt peak solar hybrid mini-grid in Kafin, Hausa. The project is expected to power communities, create jobs, and strengthen local businesses. The report.
The Kafin Hausa mini-grid power project, located at Bagaja Renewables Power Plant, comes with a 3.5-kilometer distribution line, transformers, and other infrastructure. The plant, developed through a partnership with KETCO and Future Energies Africa, is part of a bold plan to deliver 10 megawatts of clean electricity across Jigawa State. The governor explained that the project is part of KETCO's obligations under a memorandum of understanding with the state government, which now holds a 10% equity stake in the electricity distribution company.
Several aspects of our 12-point agenda have equally recognized sustained investment in renewable energy, connecting rural communities and public institutions to upgrade electricity, and expanding the role of the private sector in transforming Jigawa State economy as a key priorities in our agenda. This is what informed our partnership and collaboration with KETCO, which enabled us to acquire a little stake in the ownership of power distribution company, which also obliged the company to take actions toward boosting power supply in Jigawa State.
He noted that the initiative aligns with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed Hope agenda, aimed at decentralizing power generation and encouraging states to drive their own energy solutions.
Since the enactment of Electricity Act by His Excellency Ahmed Bola Tinubu, under the renewed Hope agenda, and a deliberate attempt to decentralize power sector and enable subnationals and private organizations has no stake in the sector, Jigawa State makes the first effort toward establishing the Ministry of Power and Energy by His Excellency Malam Umar Elamadi, FCA in the entire Northwest of States.
Already, more mini-grids are planned for Dutse, Hadeja, Kazauri, Ringim and Gumel, with a 21 additional projects anchored by the Rural Electrification Agency for rural communities. A massive 100-megawatt solar project is also underway through a public-private partnership.
This project is a 1.2 billion naira investment. That investment is linked to a 3.5 kilometer line, the 500 kilowatt power station, which we see here, as well as a 350 kV emergency backup generator in case the grid cannot provide reference voltage.
With the light switch on in Kafin Hausa, Jigawa has set the pace in renewable energy reforms, positioning itself as a front runner in Nigeria's quest for sustainable power.
Now, no fewer than 12 internally displaced persons from Agag Bay camps in Gwere West local government area of Benue State have suffered snake bites between January and now. Terna Iba, also an IDP from one of the camps in Agag Bay, said that the latest victim was a 14-year-old who was bitten by a snake last Friday without medical treatment. He added that they had applied traditional treatment, but it seems not to be working as the victim, as of Sunday afternoon, started convulsing. He added that the fear of losing the young man necessitated the alarm raised. Iba, also a displaced person, claimed that most of the victims of snake bites were being treated with traditional medicine, accusing the representative of the State Emergency Management Agency in the camp of neglecting the victims of the snake bite. You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. More news after the break. Many thanks for staying with us. In case you just joined in, this is News Hour on Trust TV. And now in business, Nigeria's foreign exchange profile is getting a major boost thanks to rising diaspora remittances. A central bank governor, Olayemi Cardoso, says inflows have tripled in recent months. Speaking at the Delta State Brazil Business and Investment Roundtable in Sao Paulo, Cardoso revealed that diaspora remittances surged from about $200 million a month to $600 million over the past 2 months. The Apex Bank projects that inflows could climb to at least $1 billion monthly by next year. Cardoso explained that strengthened exchange rates and improved remittance channels mean Nigerians abroad now send money home more confidently without relying on unofficial routes. He stressed that the growing inflows are diversifying Nigeria's foreign exchange portfolio, reducing the country's heavy dependence on oil revenues. A central bank says sustaining these inflows will remain a key part of stabilizing Nigeria's economy. Now, away from Nigeria, a tragic train accident in Egypt has left at least 3 people dead and more than 100 others injured. A derailment happened in Montreux, forcing hospitals into emergency mode. A deadly crash occurred when 7 carriages of train number 1935 traveling from Marsa Matruh to Alexandria derailed between Falka and Galal stations. Officials say the accident was caused by track subsidence in the desert area. Some of the carriages overturned, leaving passengers trapped. More than 50 ambulances rushed to the scene, while hospitals across Matruh and nearby regions were placed on high alert. By evening, 87 of the injured had already been treated and discharged. Egypt's Minister of Transport, Kamil El-Wazir, visited the crash site. He ordered the formation of a technical committee to investigate, promising that anyone found responsible would face dismissal. A derailment highlights Egypt's ongoing rail safety challenges. In 2024 alone, the country recorded 220 train accidents, killing at least 57 people. Authorities in Egypt have set up an emergency unit to monitor the situation and say investigations are ongoing. And now in sport, Adamawa teams emerged victorious at the Northeast Zonal Sports Competition organized by the Universal Basic Education Commission (UBEC) in collaboration with the Adamawa State Universal Basic Education Board. The event aimed to promote discipline among young, talented school children. In the final tournament, the Adamawa team defeated their Gombe counterparts with a score of 1-0. Trust TV's Gibson Sawadigo completes the report.
A total of 11 teams participated in this challenging tournament, which included both male and female categories. The match between Gombe and Adamawa ended in a goalless draw at a half-time. However, luck was on the side of the host team in the second half as they scored a single goal against Gombe. The purpose of organizing this sports competition was to foster collaboration, strengthen unity, and promote discipline. The organizers emphasized that education extends beyond just reading and writing.
School is not about reading only, it's about sports, so that it can develop their mental being and and then expand their horizon to know that apart from reading, they should also play.
A representative from the Universal Basic Education Commission expressed overwhelming satisfaction with the event and assured continued support for basic education in schools through sporting initiatives aimed at promoting growth.
Since the 10th edition of these games, the Northeast has consistently shown excellence, not only in academic, but also in sportsmanship.
Coaches for both Adamawa and Gombe teams described the games as transparent and commended the leadership of ATSUBEP and UBEP for fostering unity and discipline among schools.
No, I thank God now. You know, in this tournament, the aim and essence of this tournament is to motivate the children. And the first, the second, they are those to participate in the national level. So my children will still participate in the national level. So I'm happy.
Very, very much happy. Because I have never expected that I will be the winner of this competition. But probably with the help of God and also my colleagues and my second coach, we have won the competition now.
The event culminated in the presentation of medals and trophy to the female category by distinguished guests as way of honoring their achievements. The Northeast Games are expected to be held next year in Gombe, aiming to engage younger students through sporting activities across the region. Gibson Suadugu, Trust TV News, Yola.
Still on sport, football lovers in Kano State are gearing up for a historic moment as two top-tier football clubs in the state are set for the first ever derby, as Kano for the first time in history now has two clubs in the MPFL. The clash between Kano Pillars and newly promoted Barrow FC has given birth to what many call the Pyramid City Derby. The match is capable of inspiring passion but could spark tension if not carefully managed, as Kano Pillars is funded by the NPP-led state government while Barrow FC is sponsored by APC Senator Barrow Jibrin. Trust TV's Abdulaziz Ibrahim spoke to football fans on what this new rivalry might bring. Take a look.
The Pyramid City Derby is already attracting huge anticipation, with four-time MPFL champions Kano Pillars set to face newcomers Barrow FC on October 19. While Kano's football culture is rich, the rivalry in the anticipated Pyramid City Derby carries a political undertone that could inflame tensions if not carefully managed. Jamil Uba has been involved in match-day security at the Sani Abacha Stadium for some years.
Right now, there is a very cordial relationship, as you can see, between Barrow Pans and Kano Pillars Pans. And for now, there is no any issue between these two pans. Maybe some political personalities, they can use that to come between them. But as of right now, as I'm talking to you, the football pans of Barrow and Kano Pillars, they have a very good understanding.
Barrow FC's kit curator Ali Lawan Yusuf points out the cordial relationship between his club and Kano Pillars. Pillars and Barao FC have always been one family, and both are committed to the progress of our state, Kano. Analysts believe the presence of two MPFL clubs in Kano could also transform Kano's football economy, boosting ticket sales, merchandising and food vending. The impact was already evident on match day 1 this season when Barao FC hosted Eimba International in Kano before a massive crowd. At the post-match briefing of the game, which ended goalless, Eimba coach Stanley Eguma admits the Kano football support is something special.
The fans, well, always when you're in Kano, you are in a big stage. You are the big stage. I think I commend the fans. They're almost the best in the country because you can never come to Kano and see an empty Asana Abacha Stadium.
As supporters prepare for the October 19 match between Kano Pillars and Barao FC, for Kano's football fans, unity remains the common call. Some point out that Kano actually needs more MPFL teams and the opportunities are more important than any rivalry.
Golden opportunity in our state in terms of
it's a golden opportunity for the state, especially in terms of nurturing young players. Kano Pillars alone has tried to accommodate them in the past, but there has always been a limit. Now that responsibility can be shared.
So what we
really want is to have as many as 5 clubs like Kano Pillars in Kano. Because wherever there is a large population, you will always find a lot of talent. This is the kind of development we have never experienced in Kano. For the match between them, it's just a game of football. We can't predict who will win or lose, but we know there has been cooperation between the two teams. For instance, Pillars loaned players like Adamu Falcao and Musili to Barao FC when they were in the NNL, so we don't see any tension between them.
A lot of people are happy in Kano, seeing Barao in this stage. You understand? Because we are united. Now you can observe their last game. The fans, everybody we are here, we are all jubilating. And same as Pillar, that is what we want everybody. They will come together, we put ourselves together, have to be united. That is how football is supposed to be. So we are wishing them all the best.
Pillars and Barao FC have faced off before, most recently in February's President Federation Cup final where Pillars edged Barao by 3-2. As the Pyramid City Derby edges closer, questions remain. Will politics overshadow football or will Kano's rivalry become a symbol of unity? Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Kano.
And that's a wrap on News Hour. Do not forget to follow us across all social media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more programs, news and documentaries. My name is Dorcas Yakubuzala. Good night.